Given their historical and cultural importance within the known galaxy, the Jedi and Sith became synonymous with the light and dark sides of the Force. But in the case of the latter, there were many organizations across both the unknown regions and the known galaxy that dedicated themselves to the dark side and which rivaled the Sith Order. In this video expose, I will describe 7 of these organizations that were allied with the Dark but followed tenets far different than those of the Sith. Our first dark side order is known as the Prophets of the Dark Side, which probably has the strongest connections with the Sith out of any of the other organizations we'll look at. The Prophets came into existence as a splinter group that broke away from Sith teachings. Roughly 900 years before the Clone Wars, following his rejection of the Rule of Two, the Sith Lord Darth Millennial fled from his master Darth Cognis and traveled to the ancient planet of Dromon Kos. Here, Millennial formulated a new philosophy called the Dark Force that combined many theories of the Sith with those of ancient pre-Republic thinkers. Following this meditation and conclusion, Millennial saw himself as a prophet, one that was chosen by the will of the Force itself. And thus, a new dark side order was born, as all those who were practitioners of Millennial's Dark Force were known as Prophets of the Dark Side. For centuries, the Prophets kept themselves hidden from the Sith and the greater galaxy at large, becoming increasingly adept at using the Force to predict the outcome of future galactic events. However, the Prophets would come to the attention of Darth Sidious, who used them to train his dark side adepts and for their fortune-telling abilities. The second order on our list is the Mecrosa Order. Forming roughly 4,200 years before the outbreak of the Clone War, the Mecrosa Order was one that dedicated itself to the dark side and specialized in assassination. Although it originally started not based upon an adherence to the dark, but as an order sworn to protect a collection of noble families in the Tapani sector, this role would subsequently change. The Mecrosa Order would slowly become corrupted by the dark side, beginning with the founder herself when she took into her possession Sith teachings found upon Vajun. Over the next 2 centuries, the influence of the dark side and Sith would define the order, until they started a reign of terror within the Tapani sector. Ultimately, following the defeat of Exar Kun in the Great Sith War, the Jedi confronted and eliminated the Mecrosa Order in an act known as the Cleansing of the 9 Houses. However, rumors stated that the Order continued to thrive elsewhere. The next 2 dark side orders on our list of 7 are the first of those originating within the unknown regions, known as the Kanzer Exiles and the Knell of Muspilli. The Kanzer Exiles were a group of reptilians led by Lord Ravager. Committed to the dark side, the Exiles were believed to have discovered the power to enslave numerous minds at once to their machinations. Little more is known about the Knell of Muspilli. It was a death cult that resided in the unknown regions, within a specific region known as the Ganinga Gap. The Knell used their abilities with the dark side to summon apocalyptic deities from beyond the shadows of the Gap, an act that they continued to dedicate themselves to for almost 100,000 years. Both of these dark side orders would ultimately merge with a third dark side cult to form the 5th order on our list, my personal favorite, the Sorcerers of Rhand. Seen as an order that was difficult to interpret and understand by Mother Talzin, the Sorcerers of Rhand originated upon a planet that gave them their name when the Knell and Exiles previously mentioned came together for a common purpose. The Sorcerers believed in a power that was greater than the Force itself, that they referred to as the Dark, and the Order committed themselves to following its will. For the Order, their code involved following one key truth, known as the One Truth. Only power is real, and the only real power is the power to destroy. Existence is fleeting, destruction is eternal. Thus, they believed that destruction was the will of the universe, as in the void that it created, the foundation for truth could be established. For the Sorcerers of Rhand, there was no light side or dark side of the Force. There was only the dark, and the death and decay that was embodied by the dark is where the Order believed to obtain the power to eradicate any object or living creature. The penultimate dark side order on our list that rivaled the Sith is known as the Blackguard. Although there's an aspect to the Blackguard where their belief in balancing the light and dark separates them from being a purely dark side order like the others on our list, I believe we can confidently consider them among the dark as Mother Talzin did. The Blackguard operated upon the planet of Mustafar and were formed roughly 1,000 years before the Clone War by a member of the Brotherhood of Darkness, the last Sith organization in existence before the Order was reformed by Darth Bane's Rule of Two. The Blackguard were similar to the Sith in that its members used lightsabers of many variants, including saber staffs and crossguard lightsabers. For centuries, the Order sought out dark-side lore as a means to further their primary belief. The Blackguard were adamant that to increase one's knowledge of the Force, one had to understand the philosophies and abilities of other Force traditions throughout the galaxy, and thus they attempted to acquire knowledge by finding ancient lore. Interestingly, the Blackguard was not as secluded upon Mustafar as they believed, as the Sith Lord Darth Sidious had a number of his own agents within the organization. Any secrets uncovered from ancient lore would therefore eventually make their way to the Dark Lord of the Sith as well. And the final dark-side order on our list is known as the Shapers of Kro Var. Like the Blackguard, the Shapers of Kro Var originated out of the final years of the new Sith Wars, when a damaged cruiser fleeing the devastation of the war crashed within the unknown regions on the planet of Kro Var, when their ship came out of hyperspace at the wrong coordinates. The Force-sensitive individuals who survived the crash would become leaders to the survivors and adopt the title of Shapers, following in the ways of the dark side. These Shapers took up the role of battle shamans within their respective clans, and their powers were primarily utilized in warfare. The Shapers harnessed elemental powers of nature, such as wind, water, fire, and earth, and used them against their opponents. Ultimately, after centuries of isolation, the Shapers of Kro Var were discovered by the Jedi Republic when a trading vessel came into contact with their planet. Although initially viewed with suspicion, a peaceful relationship formed between the Jedi and the Shapers, allowing the Shapers to travel across the galaxy, an action that they were engaging in even up until the Clone War. So there we have it, 7 dark-side orders that competed against and rivaled the Sith. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter at SW Reading Club for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel through Patreon for access to exclusive hangouts and book discussions. If not for me, for Volta Donnet.